Welcome back, everybody, for another deep dive. This time, we're going to be looking at something that I find really fascinating.
Okay.
It's someone who has created a whole album inspired by their, get this, their subpersonality.
Wow. Interesting.
And it's all laid out in this document that we're going to be taking apart today. It's called Later Days Reflection.
It's certainly unique. I'm really interested to see how this person translated their internal experience into like a whole creative work.
Yeah, I'm curious about that too. So, before we get lost in the music, can you help me understand what a subpersonality actually is?
Sure.
Is it like having multiple personalities?
That's a great question. It's a common misconception that it's multiple personalities.
Right.
It's not separate entities,
Oh, okay.
but rather just different aspects or modes of a single personality.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like you're wearing different hats for different situations.
Mm-hmm.
You might be more assertive at work, more playful with friends, and then more nurturing with family. Each of those roles might bring out different traits and behaviors, but it's still you underneath.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's not like a split personality disorder or anything like that.
Exactly. It's more about the natural variations within a single personality.
Yeah.
We all have different sides to ourselves.
Yeah.
And these subpersonalities can represent those different facets.
Interesting. So in this case, the document focuses on a specific subpersonality named Bannock. The creator describes Bannock as, well, they use a lot of words, this embodiment of selfless leadership, camaraderie, and personal growth. Someone who guides their team with integrity and compassion.
Right.
It's quite a detailed picture they paint of Bannock.
It is. It is. And that's where it gets really interesting, I think.
Yeah.
This document doesn't just describe Bannock. It outlines a whole 10-track album inspired by him. Each song, its genre, meaning even specific lyrics, are all detailed.
Okay, so we've got this subpersonality, Bannock, and this whole album is a creative reflection on who he is. What strikes me is the sheer depth of this project. Why do you think someone would go to such lengths to express themselves through a subpersonality in music?
Well, that's a fascinating question. And I think it speaks to the power of both subpersonalities and music as tools for self-exploration and expression.
Yeah.
Subpersonalities can help us understand different aspects of ourselves,
Uh-huh.
and music provides a powerful medium for expressing emotions and ideas that might be difficult to articulate otherwise.
I see what you mean. It's like using music to give a voice to a part of yourself that might not usually get the spotlight.
Exactly.
And you can see that right from the first track, Lead Under Starlight. It's described as this cinematic, dream pop, soft rock kind of vibe with lyrics all about the journey being more important than the destination.
Interesting choice for an opening track. Yeah.
Right.
It suggests that Bannock's leadership isn't about achieving specific goals,
Hmm.
but rather about guiding and supporting others through the process, through the ups and downs of the journey itself.
That makes sense. It's a very different approach to leadership than what we often see celebrated. But then you've got the second track, Every Man for Himself,
Right.
which feels like a complete 180.
Yeah.
It's jazz-infused folk that uses golf as a metaphor for how isolated and superficial modern life can be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That contrast between those two songs immediately grabbed my attention. It suggests a tension within Bannock,
Yeah.
a recognition of the complexities of human interaction.
Okay.
On one hand, there's this desire for connection and shared purpose, as we see in Lead Under Starlight.
Yeah.
But then there's this awareness of the individualistic nature of society, this sense that we're often competing rather than collaborating.
That's such a great point. It's like even within this one subpersonality, there are these conflicting forces at play.
Yeah.
And then we have first one in, last one out,
Right.
which feels like a complete shift in gears.
Hmm.
This track pays tribute to those unsung heroes, the people who work tirelessly behind the scenes without seeking recognition.
I like that. It speaks to the importance of recognizing and appreciating those who contribute without needing the spotlight, those who quietly make things happen.
I agree. It's very powerful. And it ties back to the whole theme of leadership, right?
Yeah.
Maybe true leadership is about serving others, about empowering those around you, not just being the one out front.
It seems that first one in, last one out is pointing us in that direction.
Right. And if we look at the document's reflection section,
Yeah.
It explicitly describes Bannock as the steadfast, humble leader who navigates life's complexities with integrity and compassion.
Right.
So it seems like all these seemingly disparate songs are painting a coherent picture of Bannock, wouldn't you say?
They are, and it makes me wonder if the order of the songs is deliberate. Is this creator trying to lead us on a journey through Bannock's internal world, gradually revealing different aspects of his personality?
Hmm, that's an interesting thought. Let's see if that holds true as we explore the rest of the album. I'm particularly curious about the recurring nautical themes we see throughout the track list. I mean, who knew a subpersonality would be so into sea shanties?
Well, before we set sail into those uncharted waters, it's worth considering that ships and journeys often symbolize life's challenges,
Okay.
navigating the unknown and relying on others for support. Perhaps these nautical metaphors are a way for this individual to connect Bannock's personal growth with broader themes of resilience, adventure, and human connection.
That's really insightful observation. I'm already starting to see how these seemingly random elements are coming together to tell a larger story.
Yeah.
This is way more complex than I initially thought.
I agree. It's as if we're piecing together a puzzle, one song at a time.
Okay, so we've established that Bannock is this humble leader who values the journey over the destination and recognizes the importance of teamwork even in a seemingly individualistic world.
Uh-huh.
What else can we glean from these first few tracks?
Well, there's a line in Lit Under Starlight that stood out to me.
Oh, okay.
It's not the end that makes us whole. It's the bonds we build, the strength of soul. It seems to encapsulate Bannock's philosophy, highlighting the importance of human connection and shared experiences over achieving specific outcomes.
You know, I'm also struck by the contrast between that sentiment and the stark imagery in Every Man for Himself. Remember that line? On the green, the sunlight's glare, men in circles, yet solitaire.
Right.
It's like a stark reminder of how easily we can lose sight of genuine connection in the pursuit of individual goals.
Absolutely. It speaks to the tension between our inherent need for belonging and the societal pressures that often push us towards isolation and competition.
And then first one in, last one out comes along and throws another wrench in the works.
Yeah.
Reminding us that true fulfillment might actually come from serving others, from contributing without needing the spotlight.
Yep.
It's almost like a subtle critique of the very values presented in Every Man for Himself.
It certainly adds another layer of complexity to the overall narrative. And it makes me wonder if this entire album is a journey of self-discovery for both Bannock and the creator, a way of exploring these different facets of the self and how they relate to the world around them.
That's such a fascinating idea.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see a theme emerge: the journey, the importance of connection,
Right.
the tension between individual ambition and collective good, and the quiet power of serving others. It seems like we're on the right track to understanding who Bannock is. What do you think we should explore next?
Well, you mentioned the nautical themes.
Yeah.
And I'm curious to see how they play out in the remaining tracks. Sea Shanty and Go Down with the Ship sound particularly intriguing.
Okay.
I think they might offer some valuable insights into Bannock's approach to leadership and his relationship to his crew, so to speak.
Okay, let's dive into those next. I have a feeling this deep dive is about to get a whole lot more interesting.
I have a feeling you're right.
All right, we're back and ready to dive into those nautical-themed tracks you mentioned. I'm really curious to see how these seafaring metaphors tie into Bannock's personality.
Me too. You know, there's something inherently evocative about ships and journeys that lends itself well to exploring themes of leadership, teamwork, and resilience.
Absolutely. So first up, we have sea shanty,
Okay.
which is literally a sea shanty. It even has those call and response vocals and maritime imagery. It's described as this anthem of unity and leadership set against the backdrop of a grand seafaring adventure.
What's interesting to me here is how the genre itself reinforces the song's message. Like, sea shanties were traditionally work songs, right?
Right.
Sung by sailors to coordinate their efforts and boost morale during long voyages.
Oh, I see what you're saying. So it's not just about the lyrics. It's about the whole sonic experience evoking a sense of camaraderie and shared purpose.
Exactly. And that seems to be a core aspect of Bannock's leadership style. If we look at the lyrics, we see this emphasis on teamwork and collective strength. Heave ho, together we row. Through stormy seas, our spirits won't bow.
Okay, so they're facing these incredible challenges, but they're finding strength in their unity,
Yeah,
relying on each other to navigate those rough waters.
exactly. And that aligns perfectly with what we've seen so far, this idea that Bannock prioritizes the journey over the destination. and values collaboration over individual achievement.
Okay, so sea shanty seems to be a pretty straightforward celebration of teamwork and resilience, but then we have Go Down with the Ship, which takes a much darker turn. It explores the burdens of leadership, that inner struggle of someone who feels responsible for others.
Yeah, this song offers a more nuanced perspective on leadership,
Hmm.
acknowledging the weight of responsibility and the potential for self-doubt.
Hmm?
It's not all sunshine and sea shanties, so to speak.
Right. There's a line that really struck me. I hold the wheel with shaking hands, maps are torn, the course unplanned. They look to me to guide the way, but storms roll in and I'm afraid. You can feel the pressure and vulnerability in those words.
It really humanizes Bannock,
Uh-huh.
showing us that even the most steadfast leaders experience moments of uncertainty and fear.
And yet there's still this unwavering commitment to his crew, even when facing those doubts. I'll go down with the ship, even when the lights start to slip. This weight is mine, I won't let go. Through the tides that rise, I'll row.
A powerful statement of loyalty and dedication.
Yeah.
It suggests that true leadership isn't about always having the answers, but about being willing to stand by your team, even when the path forward is uncertain.
I'm starting to see how these nautical metaphors work so well. The ship facing a storm becomes this perfect analogy for the challenges and uncertainties of leadership.
Right?
It's not always smooth sailing.
Exactly. Yeah. And these two songs, Sea Shanty and Go Down with the Ship, offer those contrasting perspectives on the same journey. One celebrates the collective strength and joy of teamwork, while the other acknowledges the internal struggles and sacrifices that leadership often entails.
Okay, so we've explored the highs and lows of the seafaring life, but we haven't even touched on the other songs that caught my eye. I'm particularly intrigued by Take the Long Way Home and Saltwater Vibes, which seem to offer a different vibe altogether.
Those two songs seem to offer a respite from the intensity of the previous tracks.
Yeah.
They hint at a more playful and carefree side of Bannock, a willingness to embrace the simple joys of life and connection.
Yeah, Take the Long Way Home is all about savoring the journey, embracing those unplanned detours, and creating memories with friends. It's like Bannock is saying, hey, let's not get so caught up in the destination that we forget to enjoy the ride.
It's a refreshing reminder to slow down, appreciate the present moment, and find joy in the unexpected twists and turns that life throws our way.
And then you have Saltwater Vibes, which is pure summery bliss. It's described as this chill surf rock track that evokes lazy mornings, family meals, and the simple joys of being present with loved ones.
It paints a picture of a supportive and loving community.
Yeah.
A place where Bannock can let go of his responsibilities and just be himself.
It's like a glimpse into Bannock's personal life, showing us that he's not just this stoic leader, but also someone who values connection and relaxation. It makes him feel more well-rounded, more human.
Absolutely. And it highlights the importance of balance. Even the most dedicated leaders need time to recharge, connect with loved ones, and find joy in the simple things.
Okay, so we've seen the collaborative leader, the burden captain, and now the fun-loving friend. It seems like we're getting a pretty good sense of who Bannock is, at least through the lens of this music.
I agree. But remember, we're only halfway through the album.
Right.
There are still 5 more songs to explore, each with its own unique message and insights.
And one of those songs, All for One, One for All, has Japanese lyrics and an anime-inspired style. I'm so curious to see how that fits into the overall narrative.
Me too. It's
Yeah.
an unexpected choice that suggests a broadening of horizons, perhaps a global perspective on the themes of unity and resilience that we've been exploring.
Okay, I'm ready to dive into the second half of this album. What do you think we should tackle next?
Well, All for One, One for All definitely piques my curiosity. It seems like a good place to start, as it might offer a new lens through which to view Bannock's values and leadership style.
Okay, so we're back, and I have to admit, this album concept is really growing on me. I'm especially curious about this song with Japanese lyrics, All for One, One for All. It feels like a bit of a wild card.
It definitely stands out. Yeah, it's described as like a J-rock pop anthem with a fast tempo and an almost anime-inspired energy. It's a far cry from the sea shanties we just discussed.
Right, it's almost like this creator wanted to throw in something completely unexpected, but I'm wondering if it actually connects back to those themes we've been seeing.
I think it does. Remember, we've been talking about unity, resilience, and the power of collective action. Those themes are pretty universal. They transcend cultural boundaries.
So you're saying that even though the language and musical style are different, the underlying message might still align with Bannock's core values.
Exactly. And if we look at the translated lyrics, that connection becomes even clearer. The chorus translates to, "One for all, and all for one, we fight beyond our fate. With the power of our bonds, we seize victory."
Wow, that's powerful. It's like a battle cry, a declaration of unwavering solidarity. It definitely fits with the idea of Bannock as a leader who inspires and empowers his team.
Right. And it also suggests a broadening of perspective. By incorporating Japanese lyrics in this anime-inspired sound, the creator might be hinting at a more global outlook, a recognition that the values Bannock embodies aren't limited to any specific culture or region.
That's a really interesting point. It's like Bannock's leadership style is something that can resonate with people from all walks of life, regardless of their background.
I think that's a key takeaway here. This album isn't just about one person's internal experience. It's about tapping into universal human desires for connection, purpose, and belonging.
Okay, so all for one, one for all adds another dimension to our understanding of Bannock. It's not just about leading a ship through a storm, it's about inspiring a global community united by shared values and aspirations.
I think that's a great way to put it. And it makes me even more curious about the remaining tracks, Later Days, and A Voyage Within. These seem to be more reflective, perhaps hinting at a Shenton tone as we approach the end of the album.
Yeah, those titles definitely have a more introspective vibe.
Hmm.
Later Days is described as a classical strings piece, focusing on transitions, farewells, and the enduring nature of bonds formed along the way.
It sounds like a moment of reflection. Perhaps a recognition of the impermanence of certain experiences, but also the lasting impact of relationships and shared journeys.
There's a line from the song that captures that sentiment. The rising tide, a call to stay, horizons near where dreams cascade. Through fleeting moments the whispers fade, we carve our story in endless ways.
It's beautifully written. It speaks to the bittersweet nature of change, the understanding that even as things end, the memories and the connections we forged continue to shape us.
And then we have the final track, A Voyage Within, which is described as a cinematic, ambient folk piece reflecting on identity, creativity, and the enduring nature of personal expression.
It seems like a fitting conclusion to the album, bringing the focus back to the individual and the power of creative expression as a means of self-discovery and connection.
There's this line from A Voyage Within that really resonated with me. We rise, we fall through tides that call, a wonder carved in the soul of us all. Though the ship may one day rest, its voyage lingers through songs confessed.
It's a beautiful sentiment. It suggests that even though our physical journeys may come to an end, the stories we tell, the art we create, continue to resonate and connect us to something larger than ourselves.
It's like Bannock, or perhaps the creator themselves, is acknowledging that this album, this exploration of self, is just one chapter in a much larger story. And that story lives on through the music, inspiring others to embark on their own voyages of self-discovery.
I think that's a wonderful way to sum up the essence of this album. It's a celebration of the multifaceted nature of identity, the power of creativity, and the enduring human need for connection and purpose.
Wow, I have to say this deep dive has really opened my eyes to the possibilities of using music as a tool for self-exploration and expression.
Me too.
Yeah.
It's been a fascinating journey, unpacking the layers of meaning embedded within this album and seeing how they connect to broader themes of leadership, resilience, and the human experience.
Well, I want to thank you for sharing your expertise and helping me make sense of all this. I feel like I've learned a lot, not just about music, but about myself as well.
It's been a pleasure. And remember, listeners, this is just one example of how creativity can be used to explore the depths of the human psyche. What stories are waiting to be told within you? What songs are waiting to be sung? The journey of self-discovery is an endless voyage, and it's yours to navigate.
That's a great note to end on. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive, and until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep listening.